All right, I'm gonna pop us over. Oh, hi guys. Oh, hi. Yeah, you're there, Mel. They can see you. Oh, wow, it's Mel. It's Mel. Rog, Bray, how you guys doing? We're running a Wens Friends, episode number 4, and FireDragonMel's on. FireDragonMel's on.
Episode number 3 still though.
What's that?
3 is my favorite number.
We should have had you on the third one. This is ridiculous.
It's the
Unbelievable. Oh, geez, Bray, I'm sorry you're dying.
If it was the 5th one, it could have been the third.
Right? Jeez. Charlotte, hello. Welcome into our Wens Friends. Good to see ya. Okay, so the way I like to start these generally is by exploring how you first kind of got involved in Twitch, because I know many of the people who are going to be on here are people who have found their way to Twitch for one reason or another. How did you first get involved in Twitch? And what's your first standout memory from being involved in Twitch?
So my first time ever being on Twitch at all was years ago. I don't know if you have an account age command, but I have
Sorry, Comp.
5 to 7. Yeah, Comp's trying to break your stream.
Thanks,
Broke
Comp.
mine yesterday.
You're incredible. You're incredible. Thank you, Comp. Oh my God, 10 gifted. Half of those are going to Mel, just so you know. Half of that money is going to Mel. Anyhow, Mel, what were you saying?
Yeah, so my account's years and years old, 5 to 7, somewhere around there, because I hopped onto Twitch and set up an account back when I was trying to follow my favorite YouTubers, so when they started live streaming and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And so I'd hop into their chats, and occasionally I'd work up the courage to chat in their chats with their massive audience. So there was so many people, you were being drowned out even with a conversation you were trying to have with someone else in the chat.
Yeah.
So those are my first memories of Twitch. And at one point in time, Goss, that was around the point where he first started trying to get onto Twitch and actually do the streaming.
Yeah.
But it took a hiatus for both of us. And then it had been years before I'd gotten back onto Twitch. Now it's been a year and a half-ish.
Yeah, about that. About that.
Yeah, about a year and a half since I got back into Twitch. And that was also because of Goss. Goss started to stream again. So he was like, hey, I'm streaming again. It would really help me out if you got back in. So I got back in and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll watch Goss. And it was really fun, especially with my job. Hated my job. So it was fun to have somewhere to be at and somewhere to chat with while I was doing a very boring job for my day in. So that's where it started. Then I joined his Discord. And then from his Discord, I found Danny's son. And from Danny's son, I found Fuzzy and Cyanide and Bauer and Chunky and the entire community, and I have never left.
Oh, that's so incredible. My favorite thing is the web of connections that is developed through Twitch and because of the people that you find yourself in contact with. So I guess my question then, when I found you guys, how long had you known Fuzzy and Cyanide and stuff? Also, hello Zyth. Good to see you, dude.
How long have I been following you? That's a question I need answered.
You could follow
first.
age in there. Yeah, try a follow age.
Yeah, let me see. It's been a year and 4 months, so probably only a few months in all honesty.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I hadn't known him for super long, but it's one of those things where a majority of these people I found you on Twitch, we've just had an instant connection, and it was we've known each other our entire lives.
I know. It's so crazy in that sense. And it's funny because you as a person are one of my main standout memories in starting with Twitch, because Cyanide, I don't think I was even the one to raid Cyanide. I think it was Andy Rue, and I think I was in his stream. But I remember that you were in there and were just super welcoming to us.
I think both of y'all had raided. Y'all did a double raid.
Oh, maybe that's what happened. Yeah, I can't remember now.
I remember doing a double raid.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But you were just so welcoming. You're like, hey, welcome. And I was still so new that I just didn't know at all what was going on, and you guys had the gambling stream elements commands.
Yeah, that was when I first started learning a little bit about how the bots work and everything, and Cyanide was a big help in learning what the bots were and how they work. He was definitely an instigator in me learning and figuring them out.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, he's great for that. Anubis, hello.
Yeah.
Dio, hello. Welcome, you guys. We got Mel on. Much awaited guest. Every time I'm like, yeah, we're doing a Wednesday Friends with Mel, everyone's like, yay, I'm so excited. It's like, yeah, me too. So I guess the other side of Twitch, other than being a chatter, is being a streamer. Did you have any intentions of streaming when you first got involved in Twitch?
Not at all. Not even when I came back to Twitch. Like, there was nothing on my radar about streaming. I was like, this is cool hanging out and chatting. It's nice to have that interaction. It feels like I'm having an interaction with someone who's so popular and so big, even if they weren't that big. Like, it was still one of those things where it's like, I'm having an interaction with someone who's famous, but not really famous.
Right, I know.
And it was just that fun of having it. And it was like, man, it would be so cool to be that person one day. And it wasn't even really on my radar. That was just one of those, you have those thoughts like, it'd be cool to be a celebrity one day kind of things. And it eventually got to the point where I got into the friend group with Bauer and Fuzzy, Affinity, Cyanide, Dominguez, Easy. Like, we had been playing a lot of Among Us and everything. And at some point I was like, I want to do more art. And I had my Surface Pro, and I was like, I think that it would be really good if I streamed my art, because then I would have people that would pop in and motivate me to keep going. I started streaming because of that, because I think I talked to like Fuzzy and Cyanide in the group about it before I actually took off, because I'm one of those people that I need the affirmations before I actually do something.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure? Do you think this is a good idea? Because I'm not sure I want to do it, but then like everything my parents have ever raised me to believe say this is a bad idea. So please give me some positive confirmation that you think this is a good. And yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback. They were like, yes, go stream. That would be so much fun. And whether it takes off or not, like, it's just a fun experience. And anyone who is interested in streaming, I highly suggest they do stream, no matter how it ends up being. Like, one of my new friends, Meeps the Gummy Bear.
Yes, Meeps.
Comp and everyone. He's streaming right now, and he literally just started it because he had made a bet. Like, I heard the bet and everything. He was like, if you can tell me how to figure out how to push to mute on OBS, I will do it. One time. And so it was literally a fix like that. Like, it was just a keybind thing he had to do real quick for OBS. And so we showed him how to do that. And then he did a little test stream, like everyone does a test stream. Just to see how it actually works, just so you can physically see what's going on. Like, I did that too. Yeah. And then he hasn't stopped.
Yeah, because when I popped in there yesterday, he streamed for like 6 hours, and now he's streaming again. So obviously enjoys it. That's so. When you first made that decision to start streaming, and you're like sitting there ready to do it, what in that moment felt like your biggest roadblock? Like, what was always the thing standing in your way the most when you were trying to hit that go live button?
So when I was first starting out, again, a lot of my things revolve around a bit of anxiety about what other people will think, or how people will react to what I end up doing, or what I end up streaming in the end, which I've gotten a lot better about that now that I've been doing it for a while, but that was an initial hesitancy that I would have. And when I first did Facecam, because I didn't initially have Facecam, like, I started out without a Facecam.
Absolutely.
I was working on a little Surface Pro, and like I was drawing, and with my Surface Pro, like, I curl in onto it and everything. And I was like, I don't want that camera up my nose.
You don't want that angle. That's not a good angle.
Like, it just wasn't gonna work out. So it took me some time to figure out how to do a good webcam, and then only recently, when I quit my job, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I invested in all of my stuff I have now. So I have a better webcam. I have a Surface, an actual tablet, pen tablet that I can draw on. That's a pretty decent quality. Like, I think I spent like $800 on it. No, $600. It was like an $800 one marked down to $600.
That's good. That's a good
and then
purchase.
I got a $2,000 tower that can handle everything.
Yeah, you're set. You're
my
set
two,
up.
My two curved monitors.
Oh, you have two curved monitors.
I have two curved monitors. Yeah, no,
Dang.
I splurged. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go all out and buy myself what I actually want to stream with, and that was my own financial misdecision that I chose to make.
Honestly,
Not
I think
saying go do that.
I
Just
think
saying
all
I
of
did
us
that.
in these communities, the gaming community, Twitch, and that, all have a small amount of financial misdecision that goes into
That's
streaming.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
all
fine, right? I think
Yeah,
two curved monitors. I have one of my monitors is a TV. Like, I'm
They're
still
only
not.
slightly curved, but like yes.
That's not bad. I like that.
I don't have a curved TV yet, so like the curved monitors had to do.
It's a good start. It's a good start. Charlotte, hitting the go live button is absolutely the scariest part. Hello, Toasty. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I still struggle with that. So I was gonna say, Mel, your stream has come along so far recently, and even just you, like you said, you've put in the time to build it into what it is now. It just looks incredibly different. You went from somebody who, was just drawing on a Surface tablet, no webcam, and what I noticed most about your growth is that you just are there with a lot more confidence than you used to be, because I could tell, you could hear the nervousness in your voice when you were first streaming, when you were just writing on your art tablet, but you've just really come a long way. And I guess what that makes me question is, what do you feel like is your biggest area of growth when it comes to being a streamer over the past year that you've been streaming or so?
Like what I've done, where I've grown the most for all the streaming wise. I think it's what you said, like the confidence, just having the confidence to be able to keep streaming and keep going and to be able to keep being there, even though some days I feel like I might get a little on the angry side.
Really? I've never seen you
haven't seen me play
angry.
games with Cobb. You clearly haven't been paying attention.
Mel doesn't
Believe
believe
me
me
when I say she's great and so talented.
100% comp, 100%, dude. You're spot on there. You're spot on. So yeah, that confidence is there, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so do you feel like for you that does hitting go live feel like a challenge still? Do you still have nervousness before you start a stream?
Not really, not anymore. So what it really is just it's not so much the go live. It's, do I feel like streaming today? Where is my mental health on? Is it okay for me to go ahead and do that? And by the time I actually click start streaming, usually my streams go great. Like I'm in a good mood for them all. And given some granted times that my mood can fluctuate because people...
Like all of us.
Yes. But for the most part, just like, it's finding the motivation and confidence, well, not confidence, the motivation and mental constitution to keep going through it all if I'm having a bad day or if I'm having a bad week or if I'm starting to look at my money, I'm like, this is starting to get a little concerning.
Yeah, right? I get that. I'm very much there with you, for sure.
Yeah.
Has there been days when you felt like you haven't really, like, not that you weren't necessarily in the right headspace, maybe partially that, but that you just really didn't have the energy to stream but still decided to anyhow?
There's been a few, I think. Overall, if I mentally decide that I am too tired for a stream, generally the answer will be I'm not streaming.
Yeah.
There's just been a few days I have pushed through that, usually through the help of friends being like, no, it'll be a good experience for you. It'll be a good time. Like, it's good to get out of your own head. And since I currently am not working and stream is a source of income for me, and I am home alone all the time, it is a good source of connection as well for that social interaction. Like,
Absolutely.
don't like going out and talking to people, but I enjoy streaming and talking to people.
Yeah, I get it for sure. I mean, you're doing such a good job just talking here as is. So like, you have that skill of connection. You absolutely do. Yo, we got a big follows in here coming to say hi. Heck yes. That's my favorite. But yeah, so what I was going to say is on those, so this is a little bit stream related, but it's a little bit not related. On those days when you feel like, you know, you aren't in that good headspace, and and you don't really have the energy, what are your personal practices for kind of pulling yourself out of that? What is it that you can reach to help bring you back into that proper headspace?
It depends on where I'm at. So if it's like the financial situation, I stress numbers. And I'll like either play with my budget for a while, or I'll look into alternative means of income that I can look into, that I could do. But if it's not that, which it's not usually that, if it is something where I'm just mentally exhausted, I have to take that step back. I have to just not stream and just take the day off for myself to sometimes not interact with anyone and just take the time to watch horror stuff, which has been my recent kick.
Really? Wait, what have you been watching? What have you been watching recently?
So I've been listening. No, it was. I didn't start back on my horror kick until you played that Mr. Ballin video for someone in your stream whenever ago.
Someone else said that they're addicted to Mr. Ballin now because of that.
No. So I started on that, and then recently I rediscovered some of other YouTubers that I watch that go overnight and stay at haunted places and whatnot and do investigations that are just like kids our age.
That's so cool.
I was watching their investigations as well recently. So like that's what my recent kick is. But sometimes I'll just watch things, or I'll go read a book. Some novels that I have on my access to, that Fussy also has access to some of them. Just some of our different novels. I'll watch Steven Universe with Easy. Like I'll just take a breather and just have the day off for myself.
Yeah, for sure. And do you find, now I guess I'm only asking this because sometimes I feel like I struggle letting myself have that downtime. Do you do a good job of letting yourself have that downtime without feeling guilty about having it?
I try.
Yeah.
Usually, when I need that downtime is when I am in one of those lower moods. So during the mood, I might be like, well, I guess fuck it. Screw whatever's going on in my life. I'll just sit in misery for a bit and watch this dumb stuff, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But then after that, I'm like, I really needed that break. Like, it is something that I need in order to be able to come on to these things, or to stream and to give it more energy, or even just the communications. Because when I'm in those dark moods, I don't want to talk.
Yeah. I get that for sure. And you know what? So that's interesting that you have this way of pulling back, which I also think is very healthy, because I do that too. I think it's probably an introverted thing. Like, would you consider yourself an introverted person through and through?
Very much so. Yeah.
For sure. And that's how you recharge, right? But I find when I'm down, I tend to pull back, and I like pull away, and kind of just like to be on my own. And I don't necessarily like, if it works, right? But a lot of times I have a hard time reaching out to other people in those moments. So I can very much identify with that, just kind of pulling back and pulling away. Hey, Butte, what's up, buddy? Good to see you,
sometimes dude. I just need no interaction with people for at least several hours. I'll ignore any direct messages I'll get from people. Like, I'll glance at them, but then my mental the health is just like, this is too much right now. We're gonna deal with that later. And that is later Mel's problem. Later Mel can deal with that. Current Mel is having her own mental crisis she's dealing with. Later Mel can deal with that.
100%. I get that. And like, I have that too, where like, I generally try to do my best to reply to people and things like that, but there's just those moments when you're like, I can't. Yes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that though. Like, there isn't, I think the idea that we need to be like consistently reachable all the time is a little bit unhealthy for us. So I think you should feel good. You should feel good pulling back and allowing yourself to have that, because it allows you to show up to your best self, to your stream, to everything else you do. One thing that blows me away with your stream is just genuinely how long you can stream for. How do you not get like stream tired?
So I think the biggest difference between me being able to do long streams and you not being able to do long streams is that you have a very active and needy chat that is constantly there for you. My chat isn't. So like, I'm usually in the games like 90% of the time. So like, I'm just playing along, and I'm just like, that's what I would do in my free time without the stream running, is just play for hours.
Right. Okay.
And hours.
I get
hours.
that.
And hours.
But you know what though? Like realistically though, you do a really good job of carrying viewership lately. Like your viewership has honestly skyrocketed recently for your stream. So like it's, even though you don't have a crazy active chat, I think it's just a different kind of stream, to be honest. So there's still a lot of success you're seeing there.
I definitely get a lot of people who love coming in and either just listening to what's going on or just having me open to support me. And I think a lot of that was before I even got into streaming. I did a lot of community stuff. Like I was in people's streams. I was having conversations. I built rapport with a bunch of different people without the intent of streaming. So it was true connections I was able to make without trying to be like, oh, well, you follow me, I'll follow you kind of thing, you know?
Yes. Those feel so hollow because then nobody ever goes to each other's, just like follow for follow. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, it's like just to boost your numbers so you look like you're a bigger streamer, but the real success isn't really based on how many people you have following you. It's based on how many people you have consistently coming back to you, even if it's like only 10 at a time and they like swap out here and there. That's still like a good consistent number of people that will keep showing up to streams.
Absolutely. And I think you and I both know that it is about those real true connections like you just said. So if you have 10 people chatting or 10 people there who are like a real connection and a real relationship for you, that's just as powerful as having 50 hollow viewers, right? So no, absolutely. I just want to check in with a few of everyone here. Moiso's here. What's up, buddy? Welcome. Great job with the grades, brother. You're doing incredible. It's good to see you, by the way, buddy. I'm taking a personal day watching whenever. Ignore that. It's a stupid to expect a person to be on 24/7. It's so unhealthy. Yes, Charlotte, I agree. And you know what? Do you guys feel like there is a societal expectation that we are always like on per se? Like, do we kind of all pretend like that's what's expected, but like none of us are ever those people? I feel like there's that pressure, but it should not exist.
I feel like we have a lot of pressure put on us through society that we have in our heads anyway, the society that our parents grew up in and their parents grew up in. So it got passed down to us and it's become a learned behavior to hold standards that are unrealistic, that are not good for your mental health. And that's because back then they didn't really think about your mental health. They didn't really look into it too far or too deeply, and they just shoved it under a rug and we're like, no one needs to see that. No one needs to care about that. We'll just pretend like everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
I know. What is it with previous generations that just did not think mental health was a real thing? They're like, is your heart beating? Like, you're good then. Come to work.
Right. And now you have a cough. No, don't come anywhere near us. You obviously have COVID.
Right. I'm in full support of a personal day if you slept less than 6 hours. Like that's my end of things.
Look, 6 hours is my minimum. If I have less than 6 hours, you're just getting like a 30% Mel at that time.
Yeah, right. For sure. I know. I feel you there, honestly. Also, Beefy, hello, bro. I am wearing your merch.
Yes.
I didn't have Mel's.
Is based off of me.
Really? That is?
Yes, because I was Beefy's Van Hammer mod.
Oh, that's incredible.
So we had the emote made for me, and then we have the Beefy cow, and then we have the turtle that is for Cry. If you remember him.
Of course. Love the guy.
Right? And then I think the nacho was supposed to be for Dread. The special. It was special.
Oh, Mel, Cryptic, and Special. Wow, that's awesome. See, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't have your merch yet, but I'm still wearing a piece with you, so it still works out, right?
Highly recommend the Beefy merch, guys. The Mel Van Hammer. Absolutely love that stuff.
That's so good. And you know, okay, so we had touched on those societal expectations kind of thing. And this was a question that I had kind of posed to you. And it's kind of a hard one to answer. So it's okay if you don't have an answer to it, because I'm not sure exactly what mine would be yet. But like, do you feel like there is a societal pressure, or at least a pressure put on you from, say, friends or family members that you really have no interest in living up to, but you still feel that pressure to be a certain way?
Yes, that has been the biggest struggle that I recently, when I quit my job and everything, that was when I decided that I was going to try and break away from those pressures, honestly. Like, there's been a lot of pressure. I love my family very much. I really do. Like, and it goes deeper than just my parents adopted me. They raised me. They are my parents. They have given the unconditional love, maybe not the support, but the unconditional love of any parents would. They have tried to support my interests, but like I was the black sheep of the family, and it showed. And so they weren't always certain what to do or where to go with that, which is understandable. Like we're all people. We get that. But there's just that thing, like I got into the banking industry because that's what my mom did, and it was a stable source of income. And then I bought this house that I currently live in, have my name on, because like that was what my parents and my sister were saying, hey, that would be a great decision to go do instead of paying rent, which in a sense, yes, it's a good, I paid, I think I'm paying about $650 for my mortgage right now, which it was $700.
That's like cheaper than most rent, right?
Yeah, and I had cheap rent at a bigger place closer to my parents, but like I didn't like the bathroom.
Well, that's important. You gotta like the bathroom.
Yeah, you know, the bathroom is and like that's what like people are like, oh, the kitchen is where it matters. The bathroom matters to me. It has to be a nice bathroom. Like there was a tub, which was great, but like when we first got there was spiders crawling out of it everywhere of all different sizes. That was terrifying.
I'm out in that situation. I'm gone.
Yeah, no. Well, it was from a Vietnamese woman I used to work for, on again and off again. So for her, like she grew up where spiders bigger than that were their everyday life. So she's like, it's just a spider. Like it just kill it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I'm over here like, I'm arachnophobic. No, thank you.
Yeah. Forget that. Forget that. Oh
but
my
anyway,
God.
back to my point of societal pressures that I got off of a little bit. So yeah, the house was an expectation at some point, and now like my mom wants me to go back to a mainstream job. Like she's not openly saying it or trying to pressure me into it, but she very much is concerned about the health insurance because we don't have health insurance. If we don't have health insurance, I just am no longer on her health insurance because I'm 26 this year. So she had to cut me off of her health insurance because they would only let you up to 25.
Right. Yeah.
So I no longer have health insurance, which is something I do need to look into getting. But like, so she's very concerned about that. And then she doesn't want me to move. She wants me to stay in Oklahoma. She wants me to find a nice boy in Oklahoma to stay with. And have her grandbabies for her and everything. Like there's a lot of pressure, whether they realize it or not. Like even my dad had some pressure, and I had this conversation with him earlier. He was like, it's not pressure. He is the last in his line for his last name. Like he has a lot of siblings, but like they all have, for the most part, different dads. And so he is one of the last ones, and he's the baby of the family. So he is the last one for his lineage. And so he was like, one of y'all needs to have a boy and give him my last name. So my sister's gonna go through with it, but I'm over here like that is a pressure. Like you pressured us into that. Like
100%.
That is something you were pushing. So like there's been a lot of different pressures like that throughout my life that I even still feel to this day, and I'm working on stepping away from them and being like, I need to do what's best for me and what I think I want to do with my life, and not what other people want me to do with my life, because this is my life. So.
Absolutely, for sure, 100%. That's such a good perspective on it, though. It really is. Hey, Hart, welcome in. The bathroom is the number one room. Absolutely. Charlotte, I love the idea of a co-op insurance for Twitch streamers. You guys, should we unionize? That's tough. That's tough. It is technically owned by Amazon. We should probably not say that word on stream. Oh, that's so funny. I guess so. My next lead-in question to that is like, what does stepping away from those pressures look like for you? Like, is there anything you're actively doing? Is it a change in mindset? Is it a change in the energy you're giving to certain people in your life?
So the biggest step for me was when I quit my job. Like that was a very significant part of my life that I will keep going back to, because made the decision and actively decided that I was unhappy and I did not want to keep going through that unhappiness because of these pressures, because it was what was expected of me through financial obligations or through what my parents have raised me to be, a very structured person. So like, I made that decision that I was going to say, to hell with it. I have no source of income that is consistent right now. I am going to just wing it and see what happens, because I have actually been a much happier person doing this.
I love that so much.
So it was definitely a good choice for me. Like, no matter what my current worries are for my financial situation, I know I can make it work. It's just about going through and actively making it work now. But like, despite all of that, I also know like I am a much happier person. Like, you got to know me through Twitch, and you probably thought I was a very happy person. I was very depressed before I got back into Twitch, and Twitch helped me stay afloat while I was in a job that I was miserable at. Which actually I was at 2 jobs to start with. I eventually.
Yeah, I remember you being at 2 jobs at once.
Yes.
Working your butt off.
It's been a year ago now. I quit that second job, which was the convenience store owner, the Vietnamese woman who I rented from.
Look at those connections.
Yeah, no, I keep coming back to her. I've known her for a very long time. She's a good woman. It's just it is a family-owned business that's very tiny, and she is very into overbuying.
Oh no!
It was just not a good situation I wanted to keep going back to.
Wait, so she was overbuying like supplies and stuff, or what do you mean?
Like the sodas and stuff, when they go on sale, she buys so much of them that at some point we were having issues selling them before they expired.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. I feel like as an owner of a shop, though, that would be like so hard to like know how much to get of something, so that you're like, I need enough of it, but I don't want to run out.
Her biggest issue is that she would literally give you just like this little walkway through the aisles to look at what the stuff were, because she had so much cram packed in this small space. No. Like a little 500 rectangle place, and like part of it was a cooler for them to actually stay cool, and then the other part was where you could walk through, but there was also the little countertop. Like it's not you just gotta read it.
Whoa, Sniper BD, thank you for the raid. Welcome. How's it going? Can we get a shout out for Sniper here, guys? Do we have him on in the chat? Sign's in here. I think Sign's still in here. I brought you new friends. Charlotte, is that from you? Thank you. Welcome, Sniper. We're having a it's called When's Friends. It's just a little basically podcast talk show where we have people on from the community, and we just talk about what makes them them and where they find their meaning in life. So Mel's on here, and she's doing a fantastic job so far. You really have been doing so good, and I love it. So yeah, there's that. And what I wanted to say is that like you are kind of just walking your path very authentically right now, with you just leaving your job that didn't make you happy, that wasn't giving back to you, that didn't represent what you were passionate about, and just kind of taking a little bit of a leap. It's that leaping and growing your wings on the way down. So you're right in the process of growing those wings, and you're gonna be just fine.
I can grow them enough before I flatten on the ground.
You know what? Even if you can't fly yet, I'm sure you can glide. It'll be a soft landing, if anything. But no, like you really have been doing a fantastic job with that. And I want to say, like, we've touched on your art a little bit, but I want to kind of ask you both what doing your art in itself does for you and what it gives back to you, and also how much you want that to be a part of what you want to be doing moving forward. Like, what part of your how big of a part of your life does art take up now?
It's always been somewhere big in my heart, and it's been something that I've always found enjoyment out of. Like, there's something about the accomplishment of finishing something that someone else enjoys that I've always really liked. And even through like watching different animations. Like more recent ones would be like Steven Universe, or older ones like the original Teen Titans and actual animes and everything. Like getting to watch those and see how the art came to life, whether it was through the actual animation or through the manga that I was reading at the time, or nowadays the webtoons and the webcomics that I read. Like getting to see how they get these stories across and these emotions across and these self-development or helping friends out developments, going through it all and everything. Like I realized that I want to be able to do that. I want to put something out into the world that someone else is going to enjoy, that someone else is going to get a feeling out of, that someone else is going to be able to truly have a connection with. It's something that I'm still struggling to get to, but I still enjoy being able to do like the emotes or the sub badges for Cyanide and getting that where they're enjoying what they got out of it, that excitement from them, where they truly love what I produced, and that they get to share it with their community at that point. Like I did Avo sub badges and I did Cyanide sub badges. I've done some emotes here and there. I just did some for Fuzzy Lucifer.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I actually did a whole bundle for him. Feel really bad. He was been really patient with me. I actually started it like a year ago.
That's
but
okay.
Because of my job, like I didn't have the motivation or the energy to put it into it, and I was like, it's gonna turn out like shit if I do anything right now. So I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what, I can do this. Like I can do this, and it'll turn out good, or at least to where I'm okay with it, and I don't absolutely loathe it. Which is as good as you're gonna get from an artist.
Yeah, right. Never fully satisfied with the final outcome.
Yeah, no, but like, and I had a great time with it. Like I did a starting a BRB and a ending screen for him with a character that I had originally sketched up and he approved of, and then did for all of his emotes and everything for his channel. So he got his own little customized character on everything. It's technically that too. So what I did was I had a main one and then I flipped it because he's Fuzzy Lucifer. So I had like a good and an evil going
that's
on.
so smart. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I had a lot of fun with that. Easy, he said rawr.
Oh, Easy's here. Welcome. Hi, Mom. Yogi Vinyasa's my mom, by the way. That's so awesome. Thanks for popping in, you guys. No, I love that. And so, does art to you feel like, and it must be its own form of personal therapy, of a way to move emotions for you too, right? Like, is it a source of decompressing in some ways for you?
Yeah, I think whenever I do more of like, so I have a lot of story ideas in my head that I've been working on for years, and a lot of them are from some of the darker times where they got initially started, and it was a form of escape, and I fully recognize that. Like a lot of my interests are fully escapism.
For most of us, they are.
Yeah, but like there's nothing wrong with that, and it's become, as I'm developing further, like I want to be able to get those out there and develop them to where the message can get across that it is okay to have an escape, and that life can be rough and that things can be difficult, but you can get through it, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't have to do it alone. Like, yes, we are all individuals and we do have to walk our paths individually, but we can still have our friends there supporting us behind us. A lot of my friends have been very supportive. Cyanide, Easy, they were both two of my first, I gave them free commissions is what it was, because I wanted to start out on Twitch. Like that's how I started out with my art stuff on Twitch, was I was like, you guys have been really supportive. You guys pushed me to do this. You guys get free commissions. And I did one for Fuzzy too, and Heart. I actually did Heart's logo. I had a lot of fun with Heart's logo.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the little floral heart thing that says Heartbreaker across it.
Yeah,
that was
it's
me.
A classic too. It's a classic. I love it.
Yes,
that's so good.
Yes, absolutely loved working on that too, because like I don't think she even gave me a direction to go in. She was just like, I need a logo, and I was like, okay. And she was like, I think she said something about like a banner across it, and I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, I draw out a heart design and then do the little logo thing and then do a little heartbreak because it's heartbreaker. And then I was like, you know, a lot of her emotes have like this rose theme going on with the skulls. So I'll implement the rose petals throughout it. And then I had a green vine do the break.
Oh, it's so I love it.
Yeah.
I can tell you are such an artist in the way that how you just create, like, creatively just like view your designs. Like, just even when you walk me through the explanation of them, I'm like, I would have never thought that. So it's just you have a gift for that.
No, cyanides too. Like, I don't even remember how we got started on it, but eventually I was like, okay, let me Google like cyanide images, and I got down to the point where I was like, potion bottle. Okay. And then I started out with a potion bottle. It went from empty to filling it up. And then if you can actually tell, I don't know if y'all can with the small ones, but I actually have an EWC in there in the image.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, but I'll have to look really closely next time I'm in his chat.
You know,
That's
you're
so
in
cool.
my Discord, so you actually should be able to pull up, there's a Mel's work tab.
Oh,
And,
really?
you can scroll up. I posted a lot of them up there, and you can see like one of the full bottles that there is a dark green at the very back, which is supposed to be the E. The W is at the very bottom, a little lighter, and the C is one of the lighter colors at the top of the E.
I love that. I love
So
that. What a nice little layering.
I was like, that would be so good to do.
Totally.
So I did that.
Dang.
It was a lot of fun. And a lot of these pieces have been fun to work on. So like Easy and Cyanide and Heart and Fuzzy all came to me, and I was like, I fully intended on giving them free ones. Now, you can't give Cyanide free anything because he will go and either drop a bunch of subs on you or go and donate to you directly. So there was never doing anything free for Cyanide. He was like, tell me how much, tell me how much, tell me how much. And here I am still trying to figure out if I even want to charge anyone anything ever, because how dare I charge for my hard work and effort and creativity.
Yeah, how dare you?
Years of practice, like, how dare I? And Cyanide was just like, no, you deserve to be paid for your work. So they were fun to have around and get me started on streaming and doing more art and doing art for people and getting enjoyment out of the art process as well.
Yes.
And again, Fuzzy Lucifer was very patient with me and still is very kind to me to this day about despite how long it took, which again was a year.
Well, I think that's a testament to how much people just appreciate you as a person and their connection to you, and they know that it's worth the wait, the final product. So yeah, you deserve to have that patience. Mel's work is top notch. You can confirm I got angry at Mel. Yeah, right, Easy.
Easy did too.
Oh,
Easy
dude,
was just
so
like,
great.
you're underselling yourself. You're underselling yourself. You're underselling yourself.
But you do. And do you feel like, and I think that just judging from our conversation, I think you're very much in a place where you're starting to understand that you should be rewarded for what you put out there. You should be given your worth. Do you feel that in yourself more recently?
It's still a struggle. I'm definitely valuing it a lot more the more I know that there are people who genuinely enjoy where my art level is currently, even though it's not at a point where I am satisfied with, at least other people are satisfied with it. Like the pieces I mentioned, like, yes, they turned out really great. I just wish I could consistently do that. I just wish I could start something and not immediately decide I need to scrap it. Or scratch all over it and be like, no, what have I done? But a lot of them also haven't been poses, and I want to get better at drawing people and their clothes, and a lot of that is not quite where I want it at all right now.
Right.
I still do a lot of the cheats that high schoolers were doing. I was doing back in high school and everything. And
What's the cheat? What's the cheat to creating that without actually doing it?
You don't go into a lot of detail work. You just kind of like skate by with minimalistic shadowing and stuff here and there, and then you also only draw pants. Never anything else. You either don't only have the torso up, or you draw very basic shoes, and then generally you will put the hands in the pockets so you don't have to draw hands.
Oh, I like
stopped doing that one, but yeah, those are some of the cheats you go by starting with to avoid actually drawing people
Oh,
properly.
that's so funny. That's so funny. But yeah, you know what? There's always going to be room to grow. No matter what we're doing, there's
Yes.
always room to grow, right? And like you said, I think it's part of the artist's curse to never be fully satisfied with what you put out.
100%. But that's because there's always so much more you can keep learning. There's always something else to do. There's
Yeah.
always somewhere else to grow in art. It's never fully complete. And that is one of the beauties of art, is that you can always keep growing. There is no cap. You can't just reach this magical, I'm there. There's always something else to get better at.
Absolutely. Absolutely there is. You're very right. You're very right. I'm going to transition us a little bit to just more of an open-ended question that's not necessarily what we've been talking about, but I think it's one that I always like to touch on with these. And it's just simply like, what recently, you've gone through a lot of changes in your life. What's been bringing you the most amount of joy as of late? It could be an activity. It could be art. It could be just hanging out, decompressing, or it could be anything else that you're engaging in.
I've enjoyed doing streams and doing the art, and having the time to decompress. Like, I have so much time. Like, it still feels like it's not enough, obviously, but like before I was working so many hours. Like, I was supposed to be working 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. And because I was the late shift, I was there until the work was done. Now, there were some nights, especially at like last year around, I'm not gonna say this time, about middle of the year, there were some times we were getting out consistently around 9 p.m., which was great. But for the most part, especially when COVID hit and everything, we weren't getting out until midnight or later. Jeez. So I was there extra hours and then sleeping up until I needed to go back to work the next day. Like, I wasn't getting much time to do anything. Mm-hmm. And it was very, very depressing. Like, I couldn't be in people's streams unless I was having a computer pulled up on the side and avoiding my work as much as possible while at work, which working from home helps with that, or I had it on my phone or something. Like,
right.
It was just all time consuming was my work life. And that's how I have been for years. It wasn't just this one job. This one job clearly worked me more hours because of all the overtime I was getting. But for the most part, like, I've always put too much of myself into work and I didn't have a good life balance. Mm. So it's now that I do have all this time, it's been so relaxing to just be able to figure out what it is or that I want to do with my time. Mm-hmm. How I want to spend it, who I want to spend it with, and just figuring out, what to do from here. Like, figuring out what's going to be the best solution to not overwork myself, but still make ends meet. And some of it is I'm working on getting passive incomes lined up, which I'm hoping will work out so that I don't have to do commissions for every month where I'm trying to crank out a bunch of these art pieces here and there to earn the amount that I need to live each day. Like, I don't want to have to overwork myself even with art to be able to make ends meet, because then I'm going to hate art.
Yeah, for
sure. I don't
sure.
want to hate art.
For sure. Absolutely. Right. It's about finding that way to let your passions continue to be passions, right? And not just have them be work. So it's really important, and that's some really good self-awareness there, because I think sometimes we dive into those things and don't think about that level of burnout that's going to happen there. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
I've always been a person who self-reflects a lot. I haven't always done it the healthiest way, but I have constantly picked myself apart and figured out my woes here and there. Which again, not always the healthiest, because sometimes you go too far into it and you pick yourself way too far down.
Yeah,
but I'm getting better at doing it a healthier way and being able to realize, what isn't working and where I need to be a bit more positive about myself at as well.
Definitely. So then for you, what does a moment of healthy reflection look like? What are you doing? What kind of headspace are you in when you do engage in that?
Well, it usually starts out with the anxiety, and then it's the whole picking apart like what all I'm doing with my life and where it's wrong. But then I have to take that moment to just take a breath, and then just figure out, like, is this coming from me, or is this coming from my fears of what's going to happen next, or some of the pressures from society? Like, because again, I was raised very much traditionally where you work to earn ends meet. And if you're not working, then you're not earning ends meet. And even if you are earning ends meet, are you really doing it right? Kind of thing, like putting your full effort into things. Yeah.
That's such a different level of pressure that like you have to also be doing it a certain way. It's like it's not necessarily just the outcome.
No, you have to work hard to earn good money. At least that's how my brain keeps going through how I was raised and through all of the different things I picked up on as a kid growing up. Again, because I was in a state of flux as a kid because I was adopted. Like there was a period that I was foster. There was a period that I was in a shelter, and like some of that stuff lingers in the brain. So it's just finding a good way to remind yourself that are you really concerned for the right reasons, or are you trying to work yourself into a frenzy over something that shouldn't be a frenzy? And once you can find that little medium ground, like if you really are working yourself into a frenzy for the wrong reasons, being able to be like, okay, then logically, like you need to take that step back, either take a breather, or I'm a very logical person and yet unlogical at the same time. Major contradiction there, I know.
I feel you there, trust me.
Sometimes, like, despite all of my creativity and all of the fun and the freedom I need to have in my day-to-day life, sometimes I need to just structure things and just have like a set, like at least an idea of a plan for the future so that I can feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, I can breathe now. Like I have a game plan. Like I have a good idea as to how to keep progressing to where I'm not fully freaking out. I'm just like a partial chill, partial freaking out. It's good. All work out.
I love that. And you know what, honestly, like you saying all of that, I identify very heavily with that. So like that's such a good share, because it's this, like, I think part of it comes from this at least feeling like you have some sense of control over it helps you feel calm about it. So like reflecting on it, developing that game plan, just helps, right? It very much helps. Crossroads is a buddy. If you know work hard, you know worth anything. Yeah, there you go. The toxic mentality. The toxic mentality. But I find in myself, if I feel like my life's out of control, I start like cleaning. And like that's my way of like calming myself down a little bit.
Sometimes I'll clean, but I absolutely hate cleaning. So like,
do you?
Okay, so I did dishes today, but I took out like one thing of trash to my trash can. But like I didn't majorly clean anything. I'm trying to keep up with it a little bit, but like I am not a big cleaner. I hate cleaning.
Really?
I hate it so much. So even when I get in these tizzies, like my go-to is not to clean. It is to number crunch and number crunch and number crunch and number crunch.
Like, okay, so how many things in your life can you crunch numbers about? Like, I get finances, but like, is it always finances that you're number crunching?
Yeah. I'll finance like exactly how much all of my bills generally are, roughly. I have a rough estimation put up in an Excel document, and I will number crunch exactly where I'm at with my how much my money is and how much more needs to come out for the rest of the bills for the rest of the month. And then I'll also go like, okay, now what are some number crunches to, like, if I were to earn some money off of Twitch, or if I was to earn some money off of some of these side things, like how much would I need to make to be able to make this okay?
Oh, okay.
Like I'll number crunch anything and everything.
I love that. I mean, that's just another sense of just finding that control, and it's like a healthy way. Like you're budgeting. Like budgeting is very much one of the things that they tell adults is a great habit. So
yeah.
It's not
like
bad
I can
thing.
plan the budget, but I'm really bad about keeping to it.
Yeah. I think we all are. Trust me. Like it's tough. It is really tough.
My food expenses are terrible. I'm really trying to not order out so often anymore. Like I used to do like 2 or 3 different times a week. At least, if not more. And now I'm trying to be like, once a month is too much.
Yeah, I know, me too. Like half of my paycheck just goes to tipping like Uber Eats drivers and stuff. It's like this needs to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally get that. That's where all of mine goes to. Heart, you identify with the queening? Totally, right? My calming is driving with gas being $9 bajillion a liter. It's harder now. Yes, Beefy, I agree. The drive is so relaxing, but yeah, we don't have a lot of the gas money.
I am not big into driving.
No? Yeah, that's
No.
fair. But it depends on where you're driving too. Sometimes it's calming and sometimes it's not. But yeah, I don't know. Same kind of thing. What is your Zen moment then? Because like number crunching is good. It gives you that sense of control. But what's the one thing where you're just like, okay, I'm gonna just Zen out and escape and try to clear my mind.
I have to get into my interests. I have to either be playing a video game or watching something or reading something to get out of my own headspace. So like driving doesn't do that for me. Driving gives me all too much time to be in my headspace alone. And that's not always a safe place to be for long periods of time. So I don't care about driving. I don't mind driving, but like I have to drown out the thoughts. So I'm either listening to music or I'm hopping into a Discord call hoping someone will join me. So I'm not alone.
Oh, okay, I get it totally. Sometimes that reaching out to have other people is great, right? Like I had talked about how I tend to pull away, but I always know once you have somebody there to help like distract you a little bit, or kind of lend some of their energy, it's so beneficial in those moments.
I've had some great conversations with friends, either about some things that were distressing me, like if a recent event was that I had ended up having a break in a friendship, which I don't want to go too far into it, but like being able to have someone to talk to about that, which I have fortunately a lot of people to talk to when things like that are bothering me, but it's needing to release that pressure instead of it just being bottled up with me and my own thoughts while I'm driving. It's always terrible. So it's always nice to be able to lean on other people like that and get away from the dark thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're kind of nearing that hour mark, and I think we're actually transitioning very well into like the two questions I like to kind of finish off with. And so like, not that we have to get too into it, but that whole idea of those dark thoughts. My one thing that's been standing out for me as a question, and you're going to be the first person that I really ask this to help kind of end the conversation, but this is standing out to me because I was laying up just in bed all night last night, just kind of in my head about everything, like all of the negative things that I'm kind of feeling, where it's like feeling insecure about where I am with my stream, feeling insecure about where I am with my job, and you know, also just getting older. My birthday is coming up too, so like that's kind of scary.
And so passed.
Yeah, right. Well, so maybe that's freeing, but it just like it was all there, and so it just felt like these negative voices in my head, and I needed to find a way to kind of counteract that. I'm just curious for you, like in this chapter in your life, there's so much good, but I think we always have that one kind of nagging thing in a certain moment of our life. Can you identify what the negative voice in your head is telling you as of late, despite everything else that's going on?
I think a lot of it still boils down to the inconsistent income for the most part for me. I feel like that's probably the biggest voice out of everything that keeps me up at night. It's just worrying about shutting that voice up and what I can do to basically prove to the voice in my head that this is something that is lucrative enough to sustain my lifestyle, that it is something that I can do to be able to keep going and not have to live the very structured life my family has shown is what's middle class here in America.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. It's very much constricting. And I am someone who, even from a young age, has not done so well with the structured. And by that, I mean, I eventually actually saw a counselor who was like, okay, you're acting out and all of this stuff because I think you're depressed. I think it's because you feel caged in. And it's one of those things where, like, I didn't feel like I had a lot of control. I felt very much like my life was not mine. And I, until recently, still felt that. And now that it is mine, like, how can I keep it mine, and how can I keep from having to do the things that will bring me back to the mental cage that I would be in a day-to-day structured 8 to 5 or whatever kind of job. So it's just trying to find ways to calm that down, which there are plenty of nights that I end up staying awake for hours upon hours because I can't shut off the brain.
Yeah, trust me.
And I've tried a lot of different things. I tried the white noise. I've tried, and I can't have noise on too loud either, because then that's all I will focus on for hours is what's going on with that noise.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I hyper focus on it. I've discovered, because I had friends over and they played white noise really loud, and I literally couldn't fall asleep.
Whoa, yeah, okay, interesting. I love my white noise. But I
can't do it.
That.
You know, I have a weighted blanket now, and that helped for a bit. I might need a heavier one, is what I'm discovering. Like, I got a lighter one because I didn't want to feel too crushed because of that whole caged in feeling I was trying to avoid. But now it's like, okay, now it's like it's not even there, even though it is a weighted blanket and I can feel how heavy it is when I move it around. But like when it's actually on me, I'm just like, okay, this is doing it for me.
Oh my goodness.
It's just trying to find a middle ground, and usually if I can watch something or like decompress before I go to bed, it's not so bad.
Totally right. It's actually, and we talked about that, I think there's a key in like kind of finding your way out of your own headspace just before bed, or at least finding a way to calm that. But like I have nights, especially when I'm like particularly distraught, I guess I like to just listen to like a podcast or something and just listen to somebody else's problems, really, right? Because then it gets you out of your own. So I understand that. Find that escape a little bit at first.
I'll play like little different stories in my head to try and fall asleep too. So like I'll just try and play out scenes in my mind's eye, and then eventually my brain will shut off because it'll be like, okay, this is too much work, I'm out.
Yeah, right. That's cool. That's actually a really good idea, though.
Yeah, no, I've done it for years on and off. It's just sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It's just, it's one of those things where I don't think there is a set right answer every single time. You just have to try different things until something will work that night. Sometimes it's, my friend's using melatonin right now, which is just a vitamin for her.
That's what I do. Yeah, it's just a vitamin.
Yes. I think that's what she said. I don't know.
That's so.
Look, I just curl up and hope my brain will eventually shut off, and I'll try my different methods, and some of them work really well and some of them don't, and sometimes the methods that worked really well don't work really well anymore.
Yeah, that happens too. That's always so sad when you realize that what was working isn't anymore, but completely, I get it. And so I guess you had touched on the fact that your biggest voice in your head is like, how am I going to figure out being financially stable while also creating this life that exists and is this freedom that I'm craving and wanting for myself. What would you tell somebody to help ease their mind who came to you with that exact same problem or struggle? What would be your advice to them?
Well, it's not the easiest thing to do. Like I am definitely going to have to struggle for a while to get myself into a portion, because like I just jumped right in. I jumped right into not having a job. So I would definitely recommend slowly easing into it and not just immediately jumping into it. Like I fortunately was able to have a bit of a buffer. I didn't use that buffer properly. So if you do have a buffer, like work on getting some passive incomes. Passive incomes, I'm discovering, is going to be the key to being able to do it without putting in too much effort.
Yeah.
And it's not something that you have to be artistic for, or that you have to be specifically funny for. Like you can find different passive incomes that will work for you. Just make sure that it's what's right for you. Like a lot of people that I watched today anyway, were telling people how to sell t-shirts and how to go through either like Etsy to put it all up there, or to go through, like we talked about Teespring not being the best quality one, but like through the other sites as well, to be able to get print on demand stuff and sell them for a decent price, and just whatever you think could have on there. Or you can go trend surfing and look at whatever the biggest trend is right then and there and slap it on a t-shirt and throw it out there, and I'm sure you'll have some sales. It's just finding those different ways that you can keep throwing something together and earning an income off of it. Or if you are artistic, being able to put it down on like a poster. There are print on demands for posters and everything that you can then throw your design on. And then Etsy is the one that, like, they do charge you to post on there, and they do charge a fee for this stuff, but they already have a storefront. And if you're just starting out, it is a good way to just start out and just start earning an income already. Because they have a storefront that people will be able to discover you on just by randomly searching for you. Now you have a lot of competition, but it is there. If you are starting out with a stream audience already, then you have a bit more leeway. You can start to kind of make your own way through it and say, hey, here's my merch. Like, a lot of us started with Teespring because it's just an easy way to set up your own prices, to throw together your own little designs for it. They have a little different options for you to be able to do different things. You can see what's popular with all of the people that are in the community. You already have an audience that's starting to come and like your stuff, so you might as well just start out somewhere where you're able to get stuff out to them, but not have to be like, okay, now I need your address so I can ship all this stuff to you directly.
True.
No, you're in the US, or oh, you're not in Canada. Okay, that's gonna be an extra like $50 for shipping, whatever it is. Let me box it up and find the bonds and everything. Like that's a lot of work I don't want to deal with.
100%, right?
And that's not so passive either. So you want to be able to set up your own little online shop or something that you can throw things on that people are gonna love, that you put effort into, but you can resell and resell and resell and not have to do it the same effort for each and every single one of them. It'll just keep going. Yeah,
absolutely. No, that's great advice. That's awesome. And I think honestly, you can very much find your way to achieving that for yourself. And I do think that you're very much a person who has the ability to be that creative, who's sustaining themselves. And I think it's also, like you've talked about, what you need. I don't think you need that 9 to 5. I don't think that's where you thrive. So I think you're well on your way. I guess my last question would be then, just kind of touching on all this, is that reality and realistic expectations aside, what is your dream to be doing with your life in the near future? What would you be doing career-wise, and just your day-to-day? How are you giving back to the world? What's your dream for that?
Like, I've always wanted my own art business. I'm not gonna lie. For a very long time, I wanted to make my own art brand out there, my own art business. And I don't want it to be limited to just illustrations or to just design. I want it to be able to eventually evolve beyond that. So I don't want it to be set structured to where it's closed off for things. And I want it to be able to grow like me as an artist and as a person, to include other things, because I am interested in eventually learning animation. I am interested in learning different things. So that has always been the big dream. Something I've been looking into more recently is actually looking into teaching. It's something I've discovered that I actually get a lot of enjoyment out of, is being able to pass on knowledge that I've gained onto other people and teaching them whatever the information is and however it can apply to them in different ways. And I think if I were to go back to a more structured job, the only job I would be okay with nowadays would be teaching, which is ironic because when I was a kid, my mom was like, why don't you go be an art teacher, when I was in that transition period of going to college. And I was like, no, I never want to be an art teacher. I hate this. And now so going back to it, I'm like, there's actually a lot of fulfillment into teaching. They give you, like, there's a weekly structure for only part of the year, so you still get a good chunk of the year free. And true. I am discovering that because of the teacher shortages and everything, like, a lot of their minimum wages for being a teacher is around what I ended on at my last job.
Interesting. So you're not really going backwards in that sense. If you found your way there, you're just kind of starting where you're at. Yeah, and you know what? At the same time, though, like, as a teacher, I think you've talked about creating your own businesses. You've talked about creating your own sense of income. I think you could very much create a situation in which you are teaching people without being that traditional teacher, but just kind of having your own platform for it.
Yeah, and I really thought that something else that I've always wanted to do, it's always been my intention to foster kids so that I can be a good influence on children. Now, that's something I plan on doing in the future because I'm only 26 and I don't want to deal with the hassles, especially without any income right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that also affected my mindset of looking into the teaching was that I want to be a positive influence on kids. And part of the way to get there is by being a teacher. Because like when I was going to school, it would have been nice to have that one teacher be able to push me into doing what I wanted to do and not go towards the accounting degree I initially started and then it never completed because it wasn't what I wanted.
That's not you. No, that's absolutely not you.
Like I love math, and that's why my mom pushed me that way, was because it's math and it's stable and it's got a good income towards it. With accounting, like you can make a lot of money in that. Like I completely understand it, but it's that structured mindset again that is how you have to be successful, is that way. There is no money in art. Like that was a mentality I've recently had to come past and be able to understand, like, you know, that there is money in art. Art is a lucrative business in all different sorts. It doesn't have to be at an industry. It doesn't have to be the very specific sets. Art is very, very much big in the world because everyone loves art. Wow. Everyone loves being able to find these cute little designs or these little escapes from the world. Like art is very much big in the world.
So much of what we consume is art. And in a certain way, art is the pinnacle of human expression, and it always has been. So yeah, there's never going to be a shortage of art's importance in our life and our ability to make a living doing so. So no, absolutely, you're so right. Honestly, I've really enjoyed all of this conversation, and like, I think what I want to remind you of is just how much you already positively influence the people in your life, with your streaming, with your art. We've talked about it. We've had a lot of people who just appreciate you for being you, and I think right now you're very much on a path of continuing to do that, and doing it while existing outside of your comfort zone. I mean, as awful as it can feel sometimes not having that structure, it's also when we feel the most alive. And I think when we pull into our lives the things that are meant to be there, and I think you're literally smack dab in the middle of it. So I just want you to keep going with that.
I appreciate that. And I think that a good part of what Twitch has instilled in me is that even being able to accept that my own appreciation, my own worth, being able to share that, like being able to appreciate others as well, has been really great for me on Twitch. And that's part of the reason why I truly love Twitch, is that I started out in a really good community. So like there is all this love and support from everyone, and I love sharing in it and giving back to the community with that too, because like you're all amazing. you're all wonderful people, and I usually enjoy having conversations with every single one of you. And it's always a great experience. And I have loved being here, by the way.
We've all loved having you here, for real. Like, and you say that though, but I'm so glad to have found you and everyone else inside that community, because I've said it in the past, but it is easily, I am confident, one of the greatest and most loving communities on Twitch. And so I think we're all very, very lucky to be a part of each other's lives. And you're very much a catalyst for that for all of us. So
I think we can all agree that you have been a treasure to add to the community win. Like we all absolutely love when you first joined and everything. Like you've always been this really big, open, very positive person on all of your streams, and it's a very good place for anyone. I know we all joke and tease you about it's always being a just chatting stream while you're playing your games, but it's a really great place to go and being able to have these open conversations and being able to open up about when things are difficult and being able to just talk to one another and being able to have these different calls and these topics being able to be discussed without being like, oh no, that's mental health, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, forget that. That's all we talk about here. That's all we want to talk about here. That's the point of this show. But I appreciate you saying all those things to me. It really does help. And like in a time when I've also having my own personal doubts with my own abilities and things like that, having that kind of reinforcement really, really helps me. So thank you for that too. And thank you so much for being here. Thank thank you for like having been as open as you have been. You've been an awesome guest. Like you're just here making me just as excited to keep doing this, and it's because people like you are showing up and helping me do this. So thank you for being willing to do this with me.
I mean, I can keep going with this whole thinking back and forth and what's the positives, because you're an amazing person, and like it's been fun being here and having these conversations with you. But I know you're probably leaning towards that extreme, so I'm gonna stop.
We're gonna wrap it up. We've hit the right middle of that hour to hour and a half mark. It's a perfect little package. I think this is a great place to end it. But yeah, you guys, thank you all for coming on and watching and listening to Mel and I. This is probably one of the most rewarding conversations we've had so far. So I appreciate all of you guys being here and supporting. I mean, it's no surprise that you guys are here because Mel's awesome. But yeah, this was great. And thanks for being on here, Mel.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
You bet. All right, guys, I'm going to probably end us off now. I might come for a little stream after this, but we're going to wrap this up for now. But appreciate all of you guys. Thanks so much.